Hi there. In this particular video, we are going to talk about arbitrage opportunities that we can really make out of options. Alright, here I have taken an example of a call option. Rather, this example that I have taken is something that we did as a first example to understand binomial model. So, we had a stock price of $30. The probability for the stock to go up was 55%. With that the probability of the stock to go down was 45. The up factor was 1.33, the down factor was 0.75, and the risk free rate was 7%. Using all these inputs, we had arrived at a 1 period call option value to be 5.14. Alright, even the arbitrage opportunity that I'm going to talk about would be for 1 period binomial model, and we are not going to consider 2 period here, and that is not even relevant for your examination. So that is something that we are going to understand. We are going to understand the arbitrage opportunity that we get in 1 period binomial model, and for that we have taken the first example that we did together to understand binomial model in this particular chapter itself. Alright, so these were the inputs and this was the price at which we had arrived for the call option. So in case if somebody wants to go long call, he or she would have to pay a premium of 5.14 to the short part, to the short call per se. And if somebody was willing to go short call, he would have received $5.14 as premium on the call option. So now my question is, what if the call option premium or call option price or call option value was not 5.14? What if it was different? What if it was greater than 5.14, or what if it was lesser than 5.14? You as an investor, how you could really exploit the arbitrage opportunity that is lying in front of you. So we know that the fair value of the option is 5.14. Now, in case if the value is greater than 5.14, say for example $8, what you need to do here is sell the overpriced security or sell the overpriced option. That is pretty simple. Alright, if something is costlier than what it should be, then you sell it. Alright, the actual price or the real price should have been 5.14, and if it is greater than that, which is $8, then goes without saying you will be selling these options. Alright, and on opposite of that you would be buying stocks. Alright, on opposite of that you would be buying stocks, because at the end of the day, since you're selling call options, you need to have an opposite position. Alright, and that opposite position would be nothing but to buy stocks. Alright, likewise, what if the price of the call option was $4, which is lesser than $5.14? In that case, the call option is underpriced, and if anything is underpriced, what you really do with that, you start buying it. Alright, you start buying it. So in the previous case, things were overpriced, and that is why you had sold the call option. And in this particular case, things are underpriced or undervalued, and that is why you're buying the call option. And now since we are talking about an arbitrage opportunity, cannot be left out with one single position, because then the risk would be there. Alright, that is why you need to have an opposite position, and that opposite position here would be to sell stocks. So the idea is simple. If things are undervalued, you buy it. Alright, and since it is an arbitrage opportunity, you have to take an opposite position as well to make sure that you do not lose money and none of the money is going out of your own pocket while exploiting this arbitrage opportunity. Alright, so again, revisiting: overpriced, you sell options and buy stocks; underpriced, you buy options and then you sell stocks. Okay, make sure you're pausing the video and making a note out of this. Alright, now my question is, how many stocks to buy in the first case when things are overpriced, or how many stocks to sell in the second case when things are underpriced? This is something that we'll need to understand, that in case if the stock is underpriced, if the call option is underpriced, what we are supposed to do is something that we know, but how many stocks to really sell is something that we do not know. And likewise, if the option is overpriced, in that case we do know that we have to sell call options and buy stocks, but how many stocks do we need to buy is something that we do not know. So how many is the question here, and to answer that, what we need to use is delta, which is represented by H. Alright, delta is nothing but the change in the call option value divided by the change in the stock price of the company that we are talking about. So it is nothing but change in the option value in the numerator and change in the stock price. Alright, so to calculate the delta, I'll have to revisit the initial binomial model that we had created, 1 period binomial model, and then arrive at the value. So say for example, we had started from time period 0 with $30, and given the up factor and the down factor that we had as 1.33 and 0.75, we were able to calculate these two values. So the value was $40 in the upper tranche and it was 22.5 in the lower tranche. We had multiplied 30 by 1.33 to get this number, and we had multiplied 30 by 0.75 to get this particular number. And while we were standing at the upper tranche, the value of the call option was $10. Why $10? Because the current exercise price was $30 and we could have made $10 if you would have exercised it here, and that is why we call it the exercise value. And likewise, a call option buyer would not be willing to exercise his right because there is no value that is getting generated here. So we have the values, we have the stock prices. All right. With these two sets of numbers rather, the stock prices and the option values, we can finally arrive at the delta value. That delta value would be nothing but change in option value, that is $10 minus 0, divided by change in the stock price. Stock price, the difference is 40 minus 22.5. Alright, so we can arrive simply by dividing these two numbers. 10 divided by 40 minus 0.5714. Alright, what does this number represent? So say for example, we are able to see here in the first case that the option is overpriced. We know that we need to sell call options. Alright, so for every call option that you are selling, say for example, for one single call option that you are selling, how many stocks you really need to buy? You really need to buy 0.5714 stocks. Alright, likewise here, in this case, say for example, if the option was underpriced or undervalued, you have to buy the call option. For every option that you are buying, how many stocks you would have to sell? You would have to sell 0.5714. Alright, that is what delta tells us. Alright, that is what delta tells us. We'd be delving deeper into delta, gamma and all those Greek letters, but what we need to understand from delta is how many stock positions we need to take, whether long stock or short stock, given what position we are taking in the call option. But the number is given us by delta. All right. So if we are buying a call option, all right, we need to sell 0.5714 stocks. If we are selling a call option, we need to buy 0.5714 stocks. All right. So this is exactly how things work out. All right. So now what we are going to do is, we know that 5.14 is the fair call option value. All right. Now what if the call option value was 6.50 in the market? All right. What if 6.50 was the value of the call option in the market? So we can clearly tell that the price of the call option should be 5.14, but the current price is 6.5. All right. So the price is 6.5. All right, but it should have been 5.14. So we can clearly say things are what? Things are overpriced. All right, things are overpriced. Now let's see how we can really explore the arbitrage opportunity that lies in our hands. All right. First of all, what we need to understand is figuring out the delta. So the delta is pretty simple, since we are looking at the same example using the same numbers, and we had already calculated the delta here. The same delta can be used here. The value of H or delta is nothing but the change in the option value, that is the option value at time period 1 when the stock would have gone up, and the option value at time period 1 again when the stock would have gone down. So 10 minus 0 in the numerator, and in the denominator you have the increase in the stock price and the decrease in the stock price. Both these numbers you would have in the denominator. So the H that you would get is 0.5714. Now what we are going to do in this particular question is we are going to deal in 100 options. Alright. So say for example, we know that things are overpriced. Alright. So we are going to sell 100 options and see how many stocks we need to buy. Alright. We know the ratio is 1 option and 0.5714 stock. Alright. Now we are going to change that 1 and 0.5714 to what? 257.14. Alright. So that is going to be the idea that we are going to run. So say for example, we are going to deal in 100 options, which means that we are going to sell 100 options, which means that we need to buy stocks. How many stocks do we need to buy? For one option, we were supposed to buy 0.5714 stocks. So for every 100 options that we are selling, we need to buy 57.14 stocks. So buy 57.14 stocks. Alright, so this is exactly how things work out. Alright, so that is the number that I've calculated here as well. So you are, for every option that you are selling, you're going to buy 0.5714 stock. So for 100 options that you're selling, you're going to buy these many shares of the company. Alright, so that is the original idea that we, have discussed. Now we need to understand that what exact positions you need to take at time period 0 and what exact positions you need to take at time period 1, so that the arbitrage opportunity, you're able to, take advantage of the arbitrage opportunity, and at the same time, no money is going out of your pocket, because that is the whole idea of arbitrage opportunity, that money should not be going out of your pocket. And to do that, we'll have to take certain positions, and that is what we're going to discuss. So we are standing at time period 0. And we know that we are going to sell options. So we have sold 100 options. Alright, we have sold 100 options. Now, since we have sold 100 options, there is money that is going to come to us. Alright, we are going to be cash positive here. Why? Because we are selling options. At what price? At the current existing price. Alright, this price is nowhere in the market right now. This price, we know that the call option price should have been 5.14, but this is nowhere in the market. In the market, the option is available for $6.50. So we are selling the option, that is call option, 100 call options rather, at the price of $6.5. So how much money have we received here? We have received $650. The total amount of money that we have received, because since we are selling options, is $650. At the very same time, we are expected to take an opposite position as well. We need to buy some stocks. And how many stocks we need to buy? We need to buy 57.14 stocks. So we are going to buy that many stocks, and to buy that many stocks, what kind of money should go out of our pocket? 57.14 multiplied by the value of one stock, that is nothing but $30. Alright, so the money that is going out of our pocket is nothing but 57.14 multiplied by 30, that is 1714. Alright, so this is the money that is going out, negative, and this is the money that is coming in, alright, positive. So net, what kind of money that is going out of our pocket? 1714 minus 650, which is nothing but 1064. Alright, 1714 minus 650, which is nothing but 1064. This is the net cost of creating this portfolio. This is the net cost of creating this portfolio. Should this money go out of your pocket? Should the net cost go out of your pocket? Not really. The net cost should not be going out of pocket. You should be borrowing this money at the risk-free rate. You'll have to borrow 1064, and since you're borrowing that 1064, the amount that you need to repay after 1 year would be 1064 plus 7% is the rate of interest, so 0.07 into 1064. So what you can really do is you can simply calculate this number as 1064 multiplied by 1.07. Alright, you'll get the final answer that this is the total amount that you need to repay after 1 year. So 1064 multiplied by 1.07, which is nothing but 1138.48. Alright, so this is the total amount that you need to repay after 1 year. This includes both your principal amount of 1064 as well as the interest amount of 74.8. Alright, 74.8. So this is how exactly things work out. So you're borrowing this amount, and we know that what kind of money we need to repay. Now at time period 1, what we are going to understand is the stock can either go up or either go down. Alright, we have sorted out things for time period 0 at what positions we need to take, where we need to put in the money and how we need to buy the stock. But at time period 1, what can really happen with the stock is it can either go up or down. Alright, we do have the probabilities of the stock going up and going down, but anything could happen. So we need to make or consider both the situations before we finally arrive at our arbitrage profit. Alright, so to do that, I'll be calculating things or calculating the numerical values which will, in accordance to which we'll be able to figure out our arbitrage profit. Alright, so what we are going to see here is at time period 1, say for example, if the stock goes up to $40, we knew that the stock could either go up to $40 at time period 1 or could go down to 22.5. Alright, so we are going to take these two situations and understand how exactly things work out. So the first case is where the stock is going up to $40. So in that case, let's see what our exact position was. We were holding 57.14 stocks. Alright, these many shares I had, and these shares have gone up to the value of $40. So my portfolio value would be the shares that I have into its value. So 57.14 into its value, that is $40. Less Now what has really happened here is I had sold some options. How many options? I had sold 100 options. So the 100 options which I had sold, at an exercise price of $30, and given that today the price is $40, I would expect the person who had purchased these options from me to come and exercise. Alright, and he would have been making a gain of $10 because he had an exercise price of 30 and the current stock price was 40. So he was making a gain of $10, and that $10 gain that he was making on 100 options. So 40 the current stock price less the exercise price, that is 30. So S1 minus X into 100, which is 10 into 100. Alright, so net my entire portfolio value would be 57.14 into 40. This is my stocks value or shares value, less my option value which I had sold. Alright, or the loss that I had made on my options. So at the end I get the value at time period 1 as 1286 in the first scenario when the stock has actually gone up. And what if now the stock goes down to 22.5? Alright, what if the stock goes down to 22.5? In that case, I still have 57.14 shares which are worth 22.5 per share. So 57.14 into 22.5 is the portfolio value coming from the stock side less the option side. Now here the stock value has gone down. Alright, the exercise price was 30 and the stock has gone down to 22.5. The person owning the call options would not really exercise, and since he wouldn't exercise, the value here would be 0. So 57.14 multiplied by 22.5 is nothing but 1286. Both the values of my portfolio are apparently the same. Alright, given that I had taken both the positions in terms of stocks and as well as in terms of options. So I get the value as 1286 in both the cases. Now I need to realize that there was some money that I had borrowed at time period 0 which I am supposed to repay at time period 1. So the amount that I borrowed was 1064. Now and the amount that I had to repay including the interest was 1138. Alright. So my portfolio value being 1286, I'll subtract 1138.48 from it and I'll get the value as 147.52. Now this money I'm going to make at time period 1. Alright, because everything that we did here was at time period 1. But since we are looking out for arbitrage profit, we are looking out for profits right away at time period 0. So what we need to do is we need to really discount it back to time period 0 and figure out our final arbitrage profit value at time period 0. So what we are doing here is we are discounting it by 1.07 and the final value that we arrive of our arbitrage profit is nothing but 137.87. So this is how exactly you work things out. Alright, you need to understand that if you are taking a position in your options market and you want a contrary position, so you'll have to take a position in the stock market, in the normal cash market, I would rather say, because that is how you'll be able to establish two contrasting position, and then that is when you will realize that the portfolio value would be unaffected given whatever increase or decrease is happening in the stock price. Alright, so that is how exactly things work around. We have taken both the cases of the stock going up and down, and we have taken both the numerical values as well, and we were able to see that the arbitrage profit remains the same irrespective the stock is going up or down, and that is how you work things out. What you can try yourself is what if the stock option value was less than the value that it should have been. Alright, the value of the stock option should have been 5.14, but what if it was lesser? What if it was underpriced or undervalued? That could be your homework, and you can figure out how exactly to calculate that. Thank you.